Welcome back to the Cherry Pickin Hockey Podcast. Today we have a special episode. We are going to be previewing the World Juniors. Obviously, you know this is a huge tournament. Canadians love this tournament. We're going to preview it, talk a little bit about it, talk a little bit about our favorite World Junior moments. Obviously, there are some great moments out there. But first, we're just going to talk a little bit about the team, the outlook for the team, and kind of what we think. What do we think we're going to do? You think we're going to win this year? We're going to get gold or what?
I mean, I feel like this team is probably the best one they've had since 2015.
Really?
Wow.
2015, that team was so stacked. This one, I'm just up and down the roster.
Mm-hmm.
There's not any holes on it.
Talent-wise, like an unbelievable team.
Yeah.
Like the top guys on this are just going to be so fun to watch. World Juniors is the best time of the year.
There is
I'm so
a
excited.
handful of actual NHL players on this team that just, I think COVID reasons, whatever reasons, they're not playing for the NHL right now, but it's such a good team.
There's only two returning players from last year. The captain and the assistant captain, Perfetti and Goalie on defense. So that was like the one flaw I was reading up about this team is experience and
Is one of the goalies returning? Or?
Did Kosa not play last year?
I don't think he did. I read up that he's also 6'6". Did you know that?
He's a big guy.
That is a huge goalie.
It's crazy too.
His stats are insane.
He got taken over Wallstead. Wallstead was seen as like he could go top 10, and then Kosa went ahead of him. So that kid's got a lot of weight on his shoulders to live up to.
So they announced the captaincy recently. Did you see how they announced the captains?
No.
Sidney Crosby came on the screen and he announced the captain.
That's what they did?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good old.
What do you think of, what is it? It was Goalie, right? Goalie.
Yeah, I mean,
fine.
I mean, you knew if there's two returning players, you knew they were both going to get some sort of captaincy, and they did.
One of 4 Edmonton guys on the team.
The Edmonton Oil Kings.
The Oil Kings have 4 guys on the team.
Team must be okay.
I was saying that reminds me, I think it was in like 2014, the Edmonton Oil Kings had like a stacked roster. And the best players on that team did not pan out in the NHL. It was like I don't want to make Habs fans a little too sad, but Caden Gooley gives a little bit of those Griffin Reinhart vibes. You know what I mean, right? Then they had like guys like Henrik Samuelsson, just so good in the juniors and never panned out.
Yeah.
So you're getting a little bit of that vibe again, where they just have all those guys that don't pan out.
Yeah. We got a couple Michigan guys on the team, Kent Johnson, which I always joke about with Avery about how like that's the most American name ever, Kent Johnson. But and Owen Power. What do we think of Owen Power? I'm kind of excited to see him play. I haven't seen much of him.
I'm so excited. Who are you more excited to watch, Power or Bedard?
Or right.
Or right.
all three
That's
of them.
so crazy.
Oh, man.
That's
3 back-to-back
first overall picks.
I feel like Power and Wright are obviously going to have a big role on this team. I don't know what Bedard's role is going to be on this team because obviously 16-year-old playing in this tournament is wild. But I'm excited to see probably Shane Wright just because he's the flashier player than Owen Power. Owen Power's, I don't think he's going to be like, I don't think he's going to be crazy, like getting a shit ton of points. I think he's more of going to be a lockdown guy for Canada. But did you guys see Ken Johnson's move in practice?
No.
Oh my
He's got
God.
such good hands.
Oh my God. I guess they were like, he came a little later, I guess, because they're coming from the U.S. and he just absolutely broke the goalie's ankles. And like they did like a little shootout thing, and it was like crazy. But that super talented team. But every year I feel like we look at the roster, like when have you ever said, yeah, this team's not that good? We never say that, really.
There was one year.
Yeah.
It was the year we were talking about this. Joe Hicketts was captain, I think. Well, I think it was Joe Hicketts was captain, and they just like they came in. That was the only year where they went into the tournament, and people were like, this team probably won't win. And it was also like, those like Finland and Sweden had such good teams that year, but it was just like, I think that was the only year really. But like, I don't know, this year, again, like since 2015, I can't remember looking up and down a roster and saying like, yeah, they have a hole there. Yeah, they have a hole there. Like, can you can't find anywhere on this team where they're weak. It's all first round picks.
How heavy favorites is this team, do you think? Like, does U.S.
Sweden's, I think Sweden's up there.
Yeah, Sweden's pretty good. U.S. is going to have a strong team too.
Finland always shows up at national tournaments too.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch Bedard. I was doing
So what are actual like expectations here for him coming in? Because like McDavid came up at that age, and he put up like 5 in 6 games, and like we see what McDavid is today. Like that guy is a beast in the NHL. So do we think Bedard is going to be on McDavid's level in this tournament?
I don't know. It's probably if he gets like third line minutes and gets like power play 2 line type of minutes, like that'd be really good for him. I think. I don't think they're going to put him in like a 4th line role.
Yeah,
It's so tough for those guys to get minutes as a 16-year-old.
Well, it's like he's gonna they all say forward, but they're all centermen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be at the center slot. They're probably not gonna put him at the wing, and then you have like Perfetti, Wright, McTavish. You have all these guys just ahead of him who are going to play center. So it's going to be tough for him to break out ahead of them.
I haven't watched much of Bedard play yet, but just watching some of his highlights yesterday. Man, the way that guy skates it's so different than McDavid. Like McDavid's so smooth, and Bedard's so twitchy and in and out, and his shot is incredible too.
Yeah.
Like this guy is like. He's unreal. I have pretty high expectations for him. I think he's going to do something in this tournament.
I'm excited. I think Bedard's kind of put a little bit of less talk on Shane Wright. I think sometimes we forget
100%.
about, Shane Wright is like obviously projected to go 1 this year. I think it's good for Shane Wright though. Less pressure on him.
I agree.
Bringing Bedard up.
The spotlight would be so bright on
So
him because he's not having a crazy year in the OHL. I think he's sitting around 30-something points in 22 games.
Like it's crazy how good he actually is, and he's still like everybody's like they're not talking about him right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, an exceptional status guy. Exceptional status guys usually get so much spotlight, and you don't really. I don't know. You haven't heard that much about him in the last few years.
Seems like he's going to be more at that like Tavares level than the McDavid level, or like even like Matthews type of player where he's going to be an elite talent, but he's not going to be.
You think he'll be Matthews Tavares level? I even set the sights a little bit lower than that.
He's been talked about for a while.
Yeah, I remember hearing about him a couple of years ago.
I think people are a little like they're like fatigued of talking about Shane Wright of how good he is, and now Bedard's the new toy. And they're like, oh, Bedard's going to be McDavid
Bedard,
now.
yeah.
So.
Not that much hype on Owen Powell. I mean, I wouldn't say like just the fact it's just so spread out the spotlight because there's so many big guys.
That's the thing this year. It's like up and down there's like Will Cully, like Ridley Grieg, like all those guys probably going to be more of those like power forward type of roles, like Logan Stankoven, but it's all just so much skill on this team.
Yeah,
it's like who's actually going to be like I 5 guys are going to be well over point per game.
Yeah,
I think Perfetti's gonna have a big tournament too.
Yeah,
like he's definitely gonna step up.
Yeah, veteran on the team. I think
he's one of one of like 2 or 3 guys. Coming back.
The only guys who've played in the NHL are Perfetti, Mason McTavish.
Yeah,
I believe that's it.
And that will be this team's downfall if they have one. It's just the lack of experience.
So Byfield could have played in this tournament, right?
Really?
Yeah,
like he was like his age, he could play, but
he's injured though. No,
the Kings brought him up.
Did he get called up?
I believe so.
He hasn't played much hockey the last 2 years.
Yeah,
he's getting a little worse.
That would have been I think a huge spotlight is seeing Byfield in this tournament and just seeing how he if he actually would perform.
I don't think
he's been bad the last 2 years.
I don't think it would be good for him to go here.
Yeah, no.
He either just kills everybody and you're like, are you surprised, or he has like a not great tournament and they're calling him a boss. So much more pressure.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk a little bit about other prospects that are going to be playing here. We talk about William Eklund, Sweden. Obviously, he had a great training camp with the Sharks. Got brought up, and then it was kind of a surprise, a little bit of a shock that they put him down pretty early in the year. But he's going to come in, and I think he's going to dominate.
Yeah, he is an NHL player.
And they're already calling him like potentially the steal of the draft. It's been talked about, but I mean, you're gonna get to know that name by the end of this tournament. Is William Eklund, I think so.
I feel like Sweden's always got a couple guys like that.
Just skilled guys with great hands.
This tournament lends itself to those players, though, right? Like you got just more space. Everybody who's playing is so much more skilled. You're not going up against like the bottom pair 4th line guys. You're going up against people who are also skilled.
Yes, I agree. Is there anyone else you guys are looking forward to seeing? I saw that there was a good prospect on Austria, Casper. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's been talked about a lot about what to expect. But I mean, that's the thing though. Like, if you're a really good prospect, like there is not much you can do on a bad team. Like, it is tough. Like, I know when Stützle played for Germany, like, he actually stood out, but that Germany team wasn't even that bad.
No, it was him, Peterka, and I got drafted to Chicago. Reichel. The three of them were like, and then Mo Cedar on the back.
Yeah.
So they had like a deep squad.
Remember Nikolai Ehlers was another one that had a good tournament on, was it Denmark? Or
I think it's from Czech. Is it Denmark or Czech?
I can't remember.
You have to be
think it's
super
Denmark.
skilled to like play against these super teams and like
stand out at all
and
because you're gonna get
stand
so
out
much
at all.
attention
Yeah.
defensively. Oh, another way, like no weird fact with this Canada team, only left shot defenseman, no right shots.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It adds to the fact they cut Bedard. Or not
Cut
Bedard,
Bedard.
I'm sorry, Brant Clark. They cut Brant Clark, who's a right-handed D-man. That was a big shock, and then they're running like 8 lefties.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that could, like, if there's a reason they lose, that could play into it a little bit.
Playing a ton of guys on their offside.
I know Gianni wanted to, like, have you gotten into the goalies yet? I haven't really.
I just want, man, goalies for Canada are always a weird thing because, like, who's the last, like we have some good goalies. We have Binnington, we have Kemper, but, like, who's the last, like, good developed goalie? Like, Carter Hart's
Probably.
flopping a little bit right now.
Remember Carter Hart's like stats going into this tournament? They were unreal.
Him, Malcolm Subban was unreal going into this tournament. Mark Byzantine, unreal going into this tournament. There's so many guys that were like that.
I feel it
You're
flipped on
right
its
though.
head.
It's been a little bit of a no one has really like in the past few years for the World Jays, goalie has really taken over that one role. I feel like they've always been flip flopping a little bit.
Like they had I forget his name. He got drafted to Florida in like the 7th round because he was playing like junior A. He wasn't even playing in the OHL, and he was their starting goalie last year. And it's just they can never find who's going for them. Like Sebastian Cossa, I was talking about him earlier. Just I think he was a bit of a surprise at the draft, getting drafted as early as he did. He's like right now I can't remember another Canadian goalie with as much hype as him.
There's always so much, like the goalies are always on the hot seat for the last few years. There's been so much pressure on them, but which is crazy because before that, it felt like goalie was the position that Canada always excelled at with Price and Fleury and
Quebec's got to get their act together.
for
They
real,
take it
man.
all
Those guys
together.
were carrying for a
even
while.
looking at like the Olympic team, like for Canada, that was gonna like who was in net, like it wasn't that impressive versus previous years. Like, are they just struggling to develop goalies now?
Russia's
or
doing
what?
it right.
Russia is doing it
Vasilevsky,
right.
Shesterkin.
It feels like Russia's taken over the goalies, but
Yeah, they can't develop one defenseman.
It's so funny looking at that like 2010 Olympic roster, the goalies on that one compared to what we would be trying out there for if the NHL players were going to the Olympics this year. It was like Luongo, Price,
Brodeur.
Brodeur.
yeah,
And
crazy.
like Fleury.
Fleury.
Like Fleury's still being considered for this year just by the fact he's been bad.
The fact that two of those guys are like potentially going like 12 years later is crazy.
Wild. Like it's like not even a question too of like who's the next guy in line. It's like just wild. But hopefully we see something here. Maybe like do you know much about Casa?
I haven't been following him as much. I just know kind of last year he wasn't like an unknown guy. He was supposed to be like a later first round, early second round. I think he was like kind of like seems like that Carter Hart level where Carter Hart fell to like 40th overall, and then he just shot up the rankings towards the end of the year, and he's just been so good. Like he's just been. I think he's below 2 goals per game in the dub.
Oh.
Which is insane. WHL is like one of the highest scoring.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before. OHL super underrepresented on this team too. It's only a few, like 2-4 guys from the OHL, and I feel like the OHL often will carry a large portion of the team too. Some of the most talented guys are coming from the O. So that's kind of a weird thing to see this year as well. But the top like the top end guys are coming from the OHL.
Yeah, Bedard. No, not Bedard. Shane Wright.
Right. You know, a couple of the good. Yeah.
But one thing that's always asked, like people always chirp Canadians about, do we take this tournament too serious? Do you think that Canadians take this tournament too serious?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so either. It's so fun. It's like you're watching the best prospects.
I will say that I think it's a little overboard when people start like railroading teenagers for not having a shitty tournament. Like
that is
at that
bad.
point, you got to grow up. Like who was it? What's his name on Anaheim was getting death threats for that one.
Comtois was it?
Comtois because he took like a couple stupid penalties. He was getting like death threats. Like man, he was like 19.
He was getting death threats. But the thing is like, we take it so serious that it makes it way more. I guess it makes it enjoyable. Like you want to play in a packed house.
The thing is though, like when it's both sides of the spectrum. Like when they're bad, these guys get it so bad, and you got to feel bad for them. But at the same time, if you go and you win gold, these guys are heroes, and people remember them for like decades. Like we can go and talk back about like some of our favorite like World Junior players from like 2005.
Yeah,
like these guys are like exactly. So it's both sides.
It's good that we have that reputation of like we expect gold every year, but like it really takes a hit on these guys. I know someone who went bronze, and like that medal is just like thrown onto his floor. It doesn't give a shit, right? Like we expect gold from Canada, and like the expectations are always they like you see it, like the emotion when they lose. Like it's like everyone's freaking crying. You saw what Pedersen did when Sweeten lost when they he threw the medal into the stands.
I love that. The Marner year is a really disappointing year too. That's one that sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
Like they Dylan Strome, Marner, a couple other guys, and they really underperformed that year. They were terrible.
Yeah, it's just like that time of the year too. I think it's a perfect time to have the tournament too, like the holiday season. Like I feel like if it was any other week, I think it would be a little like it wouldn't be as like people wouldn't be that into it.
It's Boxing Day, hanging out with your family, toss on a World Junior game in the morning. It's the best thing in the world is the World Junior.
That outdoor game that Canada and the U.S. had.
Yeah,
wow, was one of the best. Like just to watch that, it's such a good experience.
I wish I went
awesome.
to that.
That was awesome. Love those. I love those U.S. jerseys. The Buffalo Bills ones. Yes. I love those. It was a little bit of a hot take.
It's a bit of a random thing. You said Pedersen threw the medal. It was Elias
Oh
Anderson.
shit! I got the wrong guy.
Yeah, Elias Anderson.
Oh.
I don't want people coming in the comments on you.
Yeah, that's good. We're correcting each other.
Jeremy's not weird.
No. But yeah, so talking about Boxing Day, favorite World J moments to cap things off, what comes to mind?
I mean, obviously it's the Eberle goals, like number one. It's not even close.
I know.
The Russian guy, icing the puck, and he's got a smile on his face, and he comes back down, and that's just the celebration. Everything about it was awesome.
Taves in the shootout too.
Yeah, that was it 2 or 3 goals.
I think he scored 3 goals in the shootout that year. Because after the 5th shot, you can put the same guy out over and over again.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think Eberle, like just that shot of him scoring and selling was just.
What was the context behind that one again? Was that gold medal game?
Yeah, gold medal game, sent it to OT.
Yeah.
I remembered worst moment. Fleury trying to dump the puck, banks it off his own defenseman.
Double Dion. Love Double Dion. That's one of my favorite clips of all time. Just Pierre Maguire being a weirdo. Love that one. Double Dion Phaneuf's an all-time World Junior player.
Yes.
He's dominant, man. He's a man.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think of some other ones here. But, I mean, McDavid, obviously, like, when he was there, like, there's some good moments there. But
I feel like those Tavares Eberle teams just had, like, there's some crazy overtime goals. Those were, to me, the prime days of World Juniors when it was, like, Eberle. Like, for whatever reason, Stéphane Delarivere sticks out in my mind as well as a captain of one of those teams.
Now, I wonder if it's just because like people younger than us see the tournament like that, but now that we're getting older,
I know
we might see the tournament a little different.
Is this the prime days for them? I don't know. It's weird.
Because when we were back then, it was like, holy crap. It was like we saw these guys as gods when we were watching the game.
Yeah.
One of the fun things is how unstructured the players are because they're all young and they're just kind of getting together for a few weeks. And it's like everybody's just trying to do the most. So I think that's just kind of what makes it the most fun to watch is that it's not like the best actual like hockey. It's just the funnest hockey.
I agree. Well, let's get everyone here. Let's wrap things up. Let's get everyone to comment below your favorite World J moment. Maybe your favorite World Junior player.
I was going to add that in there. That's definitely there's some great ones out there. Drop a couple of those. It'll be fun to read through.
Drop a couple of those. We'll read them. We'll reply. We'll let you know what you think. Thank you, guys.